All right. So, once again, good afternoon and welcome to our fourth annual Commonwealth Sustainability Week. My name is Peter Boger. I'm the Director for Engagement at Penn State Sustainability. And the Sustainability Week is a partnership of the PA GreenGov Council and Penn State Sustainability. Penn State Sustainability serves as the Office of the Chief Sustainability Officer within the Penn State system. And it is our job to serve as catalysts, connectors, and conveners who are trying to catalyze sustainability action across all 24 campuses within the Penn State system and across all the neighboring communities that make up the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We believe very strongly in our service as a land grant institution serving the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And similarly, the GreenGov Council also serves as a convener, connector, and catalyzer within the government of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The GreenGov Council was reestablished by executive order in January 2019 to help the state reach its climate goal of an 80% reduction of net greenhouse gas emissions from 2005 levels by 2050. Housed within the Pennsylvania Department of General Services, the council helps to integrate sustainability into the Commonwealth's policy, planning, operations, procurement, and regulatory functions. And the goal of the Sustainability Week is to focus this year on climate action from all angles, focusing on how we can help Pennsylvania as a Commonwealth reach our climate goals by 2035. If you joined us on day one, you know we provided an overview of the big picture questions facing the state around climate and our greenhouse gas emissions goals. If you joined us yesterday, you know that we were given wonderful examples from municipalities, universities, and nonprofits of the types of climate action and planning going on and real progress that is being made across the state. Today, we're zooming in to focus on the all-important action at the local level, and in particular, showcasing examples of Pennsylvania communities that have excelled at engaging widely with representative and diverse constituencies as they try to build their climate planning processes in their communities. So joining us today are our two amazing speakers. First, you're going to hear from Cassandra Goodmanson. Cassandra is the environmental planner for Bucks County, where she works with the Director of Sustainability, Neil Doherty, to develop and implement sustainability and resiliency measures for the county and county operations. Cassandra is a trained ecologist and holds a master's degree in natural resources from the University of Idaho with 2 graduate certificates in climate change and sustainability. She is passionate about the outdoors and volunteers as a master watershed steward through Penn State Extension. Following Cassandra's presentation, you'll hear from Pam Adams. Pam Adams is the Sustainability Planner at the Center Region Council of Governments. She prepares, monitors, coordinates, and provides direction for the implementation of the Center Region Climate Action and Adaptation Plan. Working collaboratively with municipalities, other Council of Governments agencies, and other stakeholders, she assists with policies, programs, and initiatives that promote local environmental, energy, economic, and social sustainability. Pam graduated from Penn State University with a BS in industrial engineering. And I cannot think of 2 better presenters to talk about how we engage our local communities in the climate process. So with that, I will hand the reins over to Cassandra.
Oh, thank you for that introduction. Let me share my slides. All right. You see that all right?
That was great.
All right. Thank you. So as mentioned, today I'll be discussing how we at Bucks County engage our community about climate change. To do this, we will be discussing not only how our sustainability efforts have changed over time, but also how our engagement process has changed. First, I would like to discuss some of our climate goals. On the 17th of February in 2021, all 3 of our commissioners signed a resolution to have 100% of our county operations, electricity, heating systems, and vehicles to be clean and renewable. To do this, we knew we could not do it alone. So Bucks County partnered with Chester, Montco, and Delaware County to form the Sustainable Energy Partnership of Southeast Pennsylvania. This organization includes a self-managed energy portfolio with 3 main partnership goals: to meet renewable energy targets, to access low, transparent, and stable energy prices, and the ability to onboard additional parties, including municipalities and schools. While we are not quite ready to onboard new members, we will be in about a year or so. But we are already in the process of increasing our engagement about clean energy goals and opportunities within the county. Another way we are engaging our communities about clean energy is by getting a SolSmart designation. SolSmart, as many of you probably know, is a free technical assistance program that helps communities develop consistent and streamlined solar permitting. Although the county does not issue permits, Bucks participated in this program for two main reasons. One, the program gives the county the ability to know the process well enough to confidently promote this program and help municipalities navigate it. And two, the SolSmart program is a budget-neutral way to improve our understanding of potential issues with solar development and how to troubleshoot them as we increase the number of solar projects we are involved with. Another engagement tool we have created is a sustainability website that is under the Planning Commission webpage or can be found just by putting in buckscounty.org/sustainability. There's many opportunities we have here to engage our residents about water, trees, recycling, other things that even municipalities are really engaged in. There you can also find our county operations sustainability plan. One core way the Planning Commission has improved and expanded engagement is how it approaches comprehensive plan process. Previously, it just talked to municipality leaders, looked at laws, and then made a 300 to 400 page plan that honestly was just a dust collector, a requirement that was not looked at after it was created. But the county found something better and took action. The county now develops its comprehensive plans using an implementable comprehensive plan model by engaging with the community and structuring the plan around their most important issues. To lead by example, this is the process that we used in our latest comprehensive plan, Bucks 2040. Our plan has 4 key principles: equity, sustainability, resilience, health, and well-being. And as well as having 7 plan priorities, which including making housing more obtainable, expand our travel options, improve our infrastructure, protect our farmland and natural resources, promote economic opportunity, act on climate change, and enhance our parks and trails. The county engaged our municipalities in person meetings, surveys, and public comment to help develop and shape our plan. This includes surveys for both residents and
DC,
business
you're
communities.
down there, or Baltimore or something.
You
Right?
need to mute.
So, I mean,
Thank you. This is a plan from our climate chapter, and as you can see, we made sure that we went through the plan priorities and that we showed what we heard from our residents. Not only is our Bucks 2040 plan available in a digital flipbook, but it is also available as a story map that allows users to access data for those that want to get a deeper dive into the maps or survey results. This process worked so well that we used it as a model for our sustainability plan for county operations. It needs to be noted that the Bucks 2040 plan was not our only major pillar in our planning process, as we also used the Local Climate Action Program, or LCAP, as a key component to our sustainability plan. We had a very positive experience with our LCAP process, and similar to the work with our SolSmart designation, we hope that our participation in these programs will boost our leadership and engagement in these areas. Our LCAP team helped us conduct an emissions audit so we had a better understanding of our ideas and areas of improvement we needed to make and how we compared to the rest of the county. We found that our main emission source was our county buildings, as our buildings and facilities included 83% of our emissions. So we knew that this was a major area that we needed to look at in our plan. The five main topics that we broke our sustainability plan into was energy and buildings, transportation, landscapes and natural resources, purchasing and material management, and workforce and collaboration. This is a page from our energy and buildings section. And as you can see, each of the goals that we make, how our plan is set up is that each of our goals that we make, we have strategies that are broken up into short-term, mid-term, and long-term, basically how long it's going to take us to successfully complete that strategy that will help us achieve this goal. Not all of our goals have long-term, mid-term, and short-term strategies. As this being our first sustainability plan, we focused on immediate action. However, one of our chapters that I do want to focus on is our workforce and collaboration section. This is because this is fairly unique to sustainability plans, as we know that we cannot make sustainability action happen without having everyone on board. One important key feature is an accomplishment we have in the county with our Office of Diversity and Inclusion. So we have a culture of kindness blueprint that we will be distributing to leaders and others within our organization to help improve equity, inclusion, and just have the culture of kindness within our organization. We need to use this to emphasize our employee engagement, retention, and well-being as one of our goals. We want to make sure that those who work for the county have what they need to be successful, whether that's flexible schedules or even childcare facilities. We're looking into those type of things. We can't guarantee that everything that we have hoped for will come to pass, but this gives us an opportunity to really look at the county, at what we are doing, and how we can improve the lives of our employees and make Bucks County a great place to work and live. But we don't just stop at the sustainability plan. When it comes to engaging our municipalities, one of the main things is safety. It's not just about how we operate, but how we help our citizens be safe and healthy. So we are working to improve our engagement with our hazard mitigation plan as well. As many of you know, with all the hurricanes and the other disasters that are happening around the world and around our region, it's very important that we have strong engagement with our municipalities on risks. And the last revision of the hazard mitigation plan was in 2021, but we are currently in the process of getting our next update. This update will include a lot of engagement with emergency personnel, with residents, with municipalities. We really want to focus on developing Bucks County as a safe, sustainable place. Though honestly, I don't really like the word sustainability because for me, I think more in terms of regenerative and resilient. Because overall, Bucks County doesn't simply want to sustain our environment as it is right now, But we also want to regenerate our ecosystem, businesses, and society so they're better over time. Because being resilient is less about your ability to bounce back to a status quo after something happens, but we really want to be able to move forward and learn from our mistakes and experiences to make our communities safer and stronger. I know I probably went too fast, but we just wanted to say thank you, and we will have questions after we're done. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. And I know there's going to be some great questions coming out of that. And now we will turn it over to Pam Adams.
All right. Well, welcome. I'm going to share my screen now. And I'll put it up. All right. Can you see my slide? Somebody confirm that?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. All right. So I liked hearing from Cassandra. She's at a county level and is working a lot with her municipalities on climate action and sustainability. I like your R&R, your regenerative and resilient. And I'm going to talk to you about some ways to engage your community, which is very important. I work at the Center Region Council of Governments. We're located in the State College area, supporting 6 municipalities that basically are where Penn State lives. And so we are fortunate to have that resource next to us, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But before I get started, I'm going to talk a little bit about why engagement is important, and then I'm going to give you an example of a successful engagement we had with the Climate Impacts Public Forum, and then talk about a resource or tool that I'm happy to share. We created this community climate action conversation kit to continue to engage. So first, why should we be having these conversations? And I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with the Yale Climate Opinion Maps, but they're a great resource. You can Google them. The Yale Program on Climate Change Communication puts them together. And this, I live in Center County. You can see us there in State College, but this map shows Pennsylvania, and you can see the percent of adults who think global warming is happening. And it's the majority, right? It changes depending on where you live, but the majority of the residents across the nation believe that global warming is happening. And there's a series of questions that you can go through. Here's an example of another one on the percent of adults who support regulating carbon dioxide as a pollutant, and it's even higher, right? More people think it should be regulated. They understand air quality. If you talk about air quality, people think that's important, water quality. And so it's important to understand, because we sometimes hear from more of the people that maybe are against it because it gets in the press, but the majority of us are in agreement that we need to do some regulation and that we need to take some action. But this one shows that very few of us talk about it. It's getting a little bit better. When I first started watching this, I think it was at 34%. Now we're at 36% across the nation. And again, you could see where, and it kind of lines up with kind of maybe some of people's values, but a lot of people feel like it's a touchy subject, and we need to get past that so we can have conversations across the aisle, across neighborhoods, to be able to talk about global warming and what actions our communities need to take. So I think that's as important for people to understand. Community conversations are important. And some of the reasons that we've identified why they're important is if people can understand what is happening or what policy is going in, it helps them not be afraid of it. And if they can understand it, it builds ownership, right? And really, by having conversations and getting people's feedback, it can help guide decision-making process and help government with prioritization. So it's like, if you feel like your voice is heard and you're part of the process, you have more ownership, you have understanding, policies and projects can go through for more of what we need. And all of this is really for enhancing community resilience and preparedness, right? We need to build a community that can respond to climate change. We definitely need to reduce our emissions, but as we're seeing, we're having these impacts from climate change more frequently, and we need to be able to build a community that's able to respond and be prepared. So let me give you two examples of some ways that you can engage your community. I first want to just step back and say, when I talk about this public forum, it's one piece of all the public engagement that we did. We had our climate action and adaptation plan approved in November of 2021. And so the year up before that, we were doing engagement, which included stakeholder input, municipal input, public input. We were able to engage subject matter experts. Again, we're very fortunate to have Penn State here, but also we did it across the state. We were doing this during COVID, so we hosted these events virtually. The subject matter expert stakeholders were really key in getting sort of the start of the strategies that need to go in the plan. But if there's actions that need to be taken that are identified by science and innovation and what's happening with research, it's only going to happen if the community is interested in it. So we did a survey, we did a mail-in survey that was statistically valid, and then we also did the public survey that people could do online. And we had a great response rate, and that provided a foundation of information to inform our plan on where the community was on taking action. And then this public forum, a climate impacts public forum, is what I'm going to talk about today and dig into a little bit more. But we were able to engage 20 different organizations, and there's way more, and we need to continue that engagement. So I was fortunate enough to have Laura Fowler, who she's here, I think, today, and you've heard her talk throughout the week. She was a professor of this course, Mediation of Environmental and Public Conflicts. This is a class that's taken mostly by law students, international students, but it's open to other students who are interested. And the mediation part of it is really key. It's a semester-long course, and I was lucky enough to work with Laura to have this climate impacts forum be the end project, if you want to say, for all the students. And so the core of this is that if you have a university or if you have access to mediators or lawyers who can help support a kind of public forum, I'm going to talk about some of the benefits. One, it's beneficial for the students. They were receiving the education, but also doing a real life community project. So it makes it more impactful. The education is key because you're working through the process to be able to facilitate a good conversation. The education piece was also very helpful for the community. So we had 150 members come to the public forum, and 20 minutes of it was for some education to make sure everybody had the same piece of information to have that conversation. Part of going through the class is learning how to facilitate and mediate conflict. And a lot of that is working to establish common ground on where there's alignment. And we did a lot of role playing, so the students got practice at uncomfortable situations and bringing them back to where they can be comfortable. Part of the process of the class is identifying the stakeholders, like who should we be engaging, trying to get them to come to the public forum, but also trying to understand what their interests are, right? Like if you can identify what their main interests are and find alignment, then that helps the conversation moving forward. And it was really important to talk about shared values, right? If people have differences, we all have differences, and that is good, and it's good for conversation, but where do we align? So this class walks the students through it. I participated, provide information. There were guest speakers that prepared the students to help plan out the public forum. So then we had the public forum date set We put it out there for 6:30 to 8:30. It was a 2-hour event. It was all virtual. We did have 150 people attend. It was very successful. And it was, I don't want to call it was simple because it was a lot went into this, but we tried to keep it very straightforward, in which we had the welcome, we had the overview, the education piece that I provided on climate action and adaptation, resiliency, what's happening in the center region. And then we went into breakout groups. So the majority of that time, over 45 minutes, was in the breakout groups. And this was only possible, I have a staff of 1 at this time, by having the students, because they were the facilitators. We had 10 different breakout rooms. And then we asked 4 questions to facilitate the conversation, and they used their skills and the tools that they used during the class to make sure that everybody had a voice. And so we asked them, we wanted to start with, what do you see as impacts here where we live, right? It's important for people to understand climate impacts and what they want to talk about, how they're feeling it locally. Then we wanted to ask them about opportunities, right? We don't want it to all be negative, but like, what opportunities do you see if we adapt and address these impacts? Third question is, what actions do you want to see happen? Like, what's your future for the vision, and how can local government help, right? Because that's ultimately what I was trying to get out of it, right? Is like, I understand the impacts. I'm always interested in what is most important to people, but I also am like, how can local government help? That's what we want to give back to the elected officials. And then lastly, we wanted to come out of the breakout group with 3 key messages, because at the end, the last 15 minutes, each of the groups presented their three key messages. And the result of the public forum was a report. The students put together a report, and there's a link there that shows the information. There's an executive summary that I put together, and there's also the YouTube the impact forum that we did. And what you can see there is 150 people were in attendance, and a lot of people kept their screens on. People were interested in talking about this. It's very engaged for the whole 2 hours. And from the result of that, we got a bunch of different information. I've got a different, executive summary right here, but on the right, it sort of shows people want us to be more proactive, right? Let's not react to disasters, but be more proactive. And it's time now. Let's start. They understood that we had to do both. It has to come from the community bottom up, but there also has to be some push from the top down. They're looking for a range of climate actions, because there's not one that's going to fit for everybody, and be unified, right? We have to look at this as a community, a large entity, and education outreach is critical. So that continues on and is still a key element of our climate action planning process, and to make sure we're looking at equity, affordability, and justice. So that was really successful. We were able to provide all that engagement. The plan was adopted in November of 2019, and we have the plan. It's high level, 82 actions, and now we are working on the implementation plan and the progress report. So we get to a different phase, and we have a technical advisory group, just like we did in the beginning. We have the sustainability survey, but we still need to engage the community. And one of the projects that we came up with is creating a community climate action conversation kit. I had an intern help me with this a couple summers ago. And the purpose behind this is to engage more people. With an office of 1, now I'm an office of 2, it's hard to go to every organization and get feedback. But we're still interested in it, and we still want to have these conversations. So basically, we've created a meeting in a box, if you've heard of that term. And this kit is actually a meeting in a binder, but it's everything that you need to conduct your own conversation. So it could be a neighborhood association wants to have a climate conversation. They could come and get the binder. It has everything in it that they can use to have this conversation. And again, it's an easy conversation. It's not supposed to be controversial. It's supposed to just have the conversation. And what's the purpose? It's really for local government and the community to work together, right? We need to hear from more community members on what their priorities are, what their values are, and that can help us determine what the priority cap actions should be. And we take those combined with what the subject matter experts say, and we can put together our implementation plan. And it's important because community members want to feel heard. Gets back to my community conversations in the beginning. And the elected officials want to hear from community members. It's much easier if we can show data, numbers that say this is what the community is interested in for policy to move forward. And again, as I pointed out, these conversations are really important. It's a first step to action. And I have the link there, and I see Peter's dropping things in the link in the chat. So where and what have we done to date? Basically from the Climate Action Conversation Kit, the activity that's in that, we've also created into a poster so that when we go to the Lion Bash, is what this picture is here, we take it in the form of a poster. We've also met with Leadership Center County, which are businesses throughout Center County on an annual basis, and have them do the engagement activity. But basically, we've engaged about 160 to 200 community members through engagement events with the poster. And I'll say the poster has changed our engagement process because people want to either, they like to talk, but they want to either get something free. So we try to have that, and they want to do an activity. And if they feel like it's something contributing to, what's going to go into policy, that helps. And then as far as the kit, the binders that we have, we've engaged 121 community members. There are 8 different organizations, and I would say House of Worships are the most popular. Then we've got some education organizations, some student groups have done it, both at our high school and at Penn State. And so this is really key to me because I wouldn't have met, with 121 community members. We're still trying to promote it. And it's really helpful to have this kit because what I find is one church group does it and then another one hears about it. And so it continues on. And I really like that it's happening with House of Worships because they are representing and living in the community. And we are still collecting data for our progress report. And that progress report is due out in the spring of 2025. But these are the 5 top priorities that are rising to the top with the data we've gotten so far. And it's basically people are very supportive of increasing tree cover and nature-based solutions on government-owned land and on street shoulders, right? Tree space. So that is one of the top priorities. Another one is looking at solar energy. They want to see us planning for that. They support renewable energy, investing in it. So that's the second one, which is really important. To help, again, municipalities, the region see that there's an interest in solar. And so we should be looking at putting them on our roofs. And we are currently involved in a solar power purchase agreement project. And so being able to say the community, this is something they're interested in is very helpful. Another one is supporting local schools, educating on climate change, purchasing renewables, and ensuring school meals buy local products. So that's something that we need to work with our local school district and start that engagement process, which I'm happy to say I've got a new sustainability coordinator. And that's one of the things we're trying to figure out is how to engage more with the youth and start that process to make it kind of a regular engagement process. Another one that they're interested in is introducing measures to encourage cycling and walking, and then also making sure more of our yard and food waste stays out of the landfill. So again, seeing what's rising to the top, this is community input. We have our sustainability survey that we did in 2021. And then we work with our technical advisory group, which are subject matter experts, to combine the engagement piece with what science and technology says we need to do to make and find those that are most impactful to work on implementation, and then letting the municipalities know that, local government know that, so that we can set policy and start working on those next projects that can meet the goals of the community. And I think that is all I have. And so my information's there, and we can turn it over to questions. I'll stop
Thank you
sharing.
so much, Pam. And yes, now is the time for questions. So feel free to raise your hand if